Hi great people, welcome back to my channel. So guess what we're talking about today? Work dynamics. Specifically, we're talking about work areas whereby they call themselves family. I'm sure you've walked to workplaces or you've been to workplaces whereby just on the first day, whoever are involved in your orientation, they're always like, here, we regard each other as a family, we work together as a family, blah, blah, blah. We are a family work dynamic. That's what we're talking about. I'm talking about this not in bad spirit because it's really good that when we see workplaces stepping up to help each other, especially in times when colleagues experience catastrophes. If actually your workplace embraces that we are a family dynamic, then good for you. And also, I'm not making this video to discourage anyone or if you have that kind of dynamic in your workplace, you distance yourself from that because it's a good thing. And also it's unfortunate if you've been in a workplace whereby you found yourself in a particular situation and your colleagues did support you, or they kind of made you feel like it's just a matter of work and go home. Well, so we're looking at when workplaces call themselves or they refer to themselves as a family. What is it that is really involved here? For me, I want to believe it's all about nurturing the spirit of teamwork, because when we call ourselves a family, we believe that just like in a family unit, people have to, be there for each other, support each other, then perhaps that is the mentality that has to apply also in the workplace. But then that happens to the extent that some people really fear even leaving the workplace, especially in times when they feel like the place is no longer benefiting them. And so I want to look at why we should not have workplaces call themselves family. First of all, families don't fire people. You might become incompetent, but your family will never disown you just because you're incompetent. It never happens. If anything, they'll try to, cope up and keep up with you just the way you are. Regardless of how many disappointments you give them, your brothers and sisters, they'll still regard you as one of their own. But then for workplaces, once you are rendered or once you're declared incompetent, then you're replaced the next moment. Okay, so that is one. Also, number two, we know that companies or workplaces do not employ us or do not get people out of love or loyalty. There are always so many applications that are made, but they won't take you because, oh, I think I love this particular person. No, they go with the credentials that you have, your level of expertise. What is it that you'll bring to the table? What is it that you'll bring to this workplace? How are you going to benefit this particular workplace? So there's nothing like love, there's nothing like loyalty. So like for family situations, they'll have to stick by you. They'll have to be loyal because, well, they're your people. You didn't get to choose them. But you see, in workplaces, they have to choose the best preferred candidate. So they don't employ people out of loyalty or love. And so workplaces can never be family. It's a company, it's a firm, it's incapable, or do we say it's incapable? They are very much incapable of having these feelings. They don't have these feelings, okay? Also, you need to know that it's not bad. It's just a nature of any workplace because it's your value that justifies the need for you to keep the job. So you need to remember that. Most of the time, companies will have to make very difficult choices that families don't have to make. It's so unrealistic for anyone to call a workplace a family. It's just a way to make people fit and to make the company operational, because we can't work, or the company cannot work properly if everyone is working as an independent entity. So we just need that teamwork. And that's why I said that they have to make choices that families do not. And we are going back to, when we said that you'll be fired as soon as you're rendered incompetent. For families, when, let's say, for example, you're working and you're bringing wealth to the family, regarding what wealth is for you, it's relative. There's no way they can, consider you an outcast just because, God forbid, you were involved in an accident, you lost your legs or something, and you can't provide for the family anymore. People will have to cope with whatever they have. Unlike in companies, they'll try to hold you up, but eventually they'll find a replacement for you. So there is no way, or it's not, or it's actually very unrealistic to consider workplaces as family. And because of that, let's talk about the process of quitting. Like, if you have to quit a job, because most of the people stay in places, they find themselves that they're not growing or they're not getting anything much from workplaces, but then they tend to choose to stay. I just want to remind you that quitting a job is not betrayal of any kind. And I once had an experience of such. I joined a school as a pioneer teacher, and an opportunity came, and when I wanted to leave, I was like, now I'm among the first people who came here as teachers. How am I going to leave them? Is this some kind of betrayal or not? What are they going to think of me? Am I being ungrateful? All those kinds of negative thoughts that were trying to convince me not to take up the opportunity. And so the same goes to the family. Okay, people have valid reasons. I'm not saying that people have not quit families. They have, and people have very valid reasons as to why they've cut themselves out of family. Sometimes they have very, 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 very valid reasons. It's a sad thing to do, but it happens. So it's same as quitting a job. If you feel that it's time to really go, because people have to quit job for various reasons. It's not just about money, by the way. So let's see reasons as to why people may have to quit jobs. Number one, we can talk of poor working environments. Like, for example, you feel like when you go to a certain work environment, kind of you go back home drained. So that is one, poor working. There are so many examples that I can give, but poor working environment, I'm sure you understand what I mean. Number two, we can also talk about people looking for greener pastures. So if you find a place that pays you more money and you feel like you could use the extra cash, then why not take the opportunity? So greener pastures is another, and actually it's the major reason as to why people need to change jobs. Another reason as to why people may have to change jobs or may have to quit is because they've gotten new or better opportunities for growth. So if you feel like being in a particular place will limit your growth, and you find a place whereby you'll be able to, develop yourself way faster, then that's a very good reason for you to quit a job. And then mostly, and the last reason that I want to give is people have to quit jobs for personal reasons. For example, I want to go back to school and study. I may need to quit my job, or I want to set up a business, so I want to concentrate fully on it, then I might have to quit a job. So it's quite unfortunate that sometimes when these things happen, workplaces sometimes tend to, complicate the process and make the whole thing really frustrating, regardless of what is at stake. Like I said, quitting a job should not be considered as a betrayal. So do not feel bad if you have to leave. It's just work at the end of the day. So keep working at a job if you, number one, enjoy it. You wake up in the morning, you feel energetic, you feel enthusiastic about it, you feel, motivated to go and work, because at the end of the day the returns are good. Number two, if you get meaning from it. Like for me, I work as a teacher. Like when I go to school every day, when I'm able to bring impact to those students, it satisfies me. So if I get a meaning from it, then I should keep working at that particular place. And then you can also keep a job if you just need the money. So until you find something better, keep doing whatever you're doing. Also remember that in as much as you'll feel like quitting that job is betrayal, think of it the other way around. Like in case it's you who have done something that is regarded or is considered to go against the company regulations, I tell you, my friend, you'll be laid off as soon as they feel that you're not good for them. So do not also feel guilty about leaving, because if need be, if they want you out, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what happened, you'll have to go. So be different about leaving. If you have a very good reason, then don't feel it's a betrayal. And also, I just said before, companies are not people, and so they're incapable of feelings. Okay, they have no feelings at all, and because of that they cannot love you. So even if you're the best employee or the employee of the year, when the time comes you need to be out, my friend, you will have to leave. Okay, in fact they'll give you a notice: vacate our premises within 24 hours, within the next 2 hours. It's as if they didn't even know you. So even you, when the time comes and you need to leave, for as long as your reasons are valid, do not feel like it's a betrayal when you have to move away. But then also, let's see, when we relate with our colleagues, I don't think it's a bad thing to be good friends with them, because some people have best friends from workplaces. Some people have the best testimonies or have had their lives turned around from the relations at work. So it's a good thing. Okay, but then remember that does not change the fact that you're just an employee there. It does not change the fact that you're just working for that company. All right, so just do what's best for you. Do what's best for you. Do not do stuff just because you feel everybody else is doing it. No, don't do that, because at the end of the day, even your employees, they have to understand that if you have to leave, you have to do what is best for you. And just be loyal to yourself. Be loyal to yourself, because at the end of the day, again, it's just work. All right. So let's look at the disadvantages of having the work dynamic. I don't have much, but just 2 points. Like, what is the disadvantage of regarding a workplace as family? So number one, the personal and the professional lines, they begin to blur. By this I mean, when we're looking at a family, people who head the family are your father, your mother, and then of course there is your siblings. So if you refer to your colleagues as your brothers and sisters, and then your seniors as maybe your father and your mother, sometimes the professional lines begin to blur. Like, let's just say the relationship between maybe colleagues. So I have a colleague that I call a friend. So when something needs to be done, sometimes when it comes to the seriousness that it deserves, because we're so much used to each other, you'll find that we were not able to keep that professionalism. And the same thing goes to when you're looking at the power dynamic that is created, because sometimes you find that the employees will be taken advantage of because of that compromised relationship. So I think it's good to regard to your work as a family, but somehow again sometimes it's not realistic, because there is just no way work can be family, because these two have different operational levels. Okay, and you can see, like, if you have a senior and maybe you have a proposition, because of the level of regarding to yourselves as family, sorry, you find that there is a lot that is being compromised. There's a lot that is being compromised. And so if we could just keep the professional our professional ways, like when you go into a company, like I said, normally there's always something that you have to bring to the company, like of what good are you going to be to the company itself, because basically that is what they're looking at, people who will be able to take the company to the next level. And so when you have a proposition or a good idea that you want to present, sometimes if it infringes on the well-being of other people, you might be forced to not really air it at the end of the day. But then if people are just left free to be who they have to be, then there's a lot of untapped potential and there's a lot of good that can come from it. But again, I'm not saying that workplaces should not regard to themselves as family. I'm just looking at the disadvantages of having that as a work dynamic. So that's all I have for this video, just sharing my views according to also what I've been able to gather from different sources. But you can tell me what you think about the same. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for listening to me.